Hello, hello. I am Brian, and welcome to another Mario Kart 150cc match between Armin and Andy. This is the losers bracket of the tournament, so the loser will be eliminated. But this match is pretty hype. Armin is a player ranked around 90th in time trials. Andy has been moving up the ranks very quickly. I believe he's around 140 or so. These guys will be starting momentarily. Armin will be on emulator, meaning there's no lag, so he will have to start 35 minutes late. 35 seconds late. That is the penalty for the no lag. He will slowly make up time throughout the run. So we do the 35 seconds just to make it fair. Andy is on N64 console, so he will have to deal with some of that lag, and it's not necessarily even throughout the run. Some courses are worse than others. DK Jungle Parkway being the worst, which is obviously at the end of the run. So, but since Armin will be starting 35 seconds late, whoever crosses Rainbow Road first will win the race. And if it's really close, there's a chance we may have to retime, but that is very unlikely, as this run lasts around 40 minutes. So, hopefully we get a close race, but it doesn't typically happen within a second or two. So, without further ado, I will, if everyone's ready, let me check and make sure these guys are ready, and we'll get them counted down. How's the audio, guys? I know last stream there were some audio issues. Can everyone hear the both game audios? And you have no game audio? Okay, let's do we'll do a test run real quick right now. Hopefully everything will be good. Okay. Yeah, Dan, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, that's weird. They're both at the same volume, so is that better? They're both at 125%, so Okay, well, we'll just get started then. If Armin's is good, we'll have some audio, so that's fine. Armin seems to be trying to destroy all the trees. A popular category some people run. A meme category, if you will. Okay, so it looks like we're ready to go. These guys are anxious to get going, so... Just waiting on Andy, and we will count these guys down. Okay, Andy is ready. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And there will be a little bit of a delay, and these guys will get going here momentarily. And for the person fortunate enough to win this match, I believe they will face the winner of Zoran and Lewis. Okay, so Andy is underway. As you can tell, Armin will be waiting for that 35-second marker, and then he will get started. It looks like the timers are off a little bit, so I'm going to try to sync them up right now. Armin. Okay, Luigi Raceway is a very simple track. Not too many. These guys shouldn't have too many problems. It's pretty much just a circle. These guys will try to hug the corners as tightly as possible, trying to avoid the items they lay down. Struggle is always not to run into your own items. You can see Armin getting a shroom there. That will save a bit of time as he'll be able to cut this last corner of the lap. Andy getting a boo. That is probably the second best item you can get in addition to the invisibility. You can fish for more items and have a better chance of getting that mushroom, which will be the main item these players are going for in first place. You have a 10% chance of getting a mushroom. Andy starting Moo Moo Farm as Armin comes around to finish up Luigi Raceway. Armin coming through at a 1:37.42. I didn't catch Andy's time. Oh, I'm sorry. The winner will face the winner of Jaden or Xander in the losers bracket. And I believe that would be the loser semifinals. Okay, so Moo Moo Farm, the shortest course in the track. The main issue here is the moles. They are completely random and not on cycles like everything else is in this game. So how much they want to risk on this spot Andy's coming up on right now? Yeah, the tighter you go, the more molehills you will drive over. Each one of them having a chance to hit you, and it's pretty high. So Andy getting a mushroom. That's always nice. That'll save some time. Some tracks, mushrooms can save a full second, and other tracks, they're very small time saves. Maybe even a quarter of a second or less. As you can see, Armin also getting a mushroom and shrooming around that last turn. 114 for Andy. Now, okay, so Armin coming through here, 112. 74 will make up some time on this course. Andy starting Koopa Troopa Beach. This is a pretty important course of the run. This ramp jump is considered non-shortcut, and if you miss it, if you don't get the backup quickly, or just choose to go the long way because the backup can be difficult to get, can cost you a lot of time. Andy... There's also an item manipulation at the end of the lap. Andy didn't go for it there. I'll explain it when Armin gets to that section. I assume he'll go for it. But yeah, this cave jump can, if you miss it, can cost you 10 seconds. Oh, and unlucky for Andy, he gets lightning right before the cave. Really unfortunate. There's really nothing he can do about that. So yeah, as you can see, Armin... Okay, so... What these players try to do at the end of the lap is they will use the ramps to get the item, and if they select the item right as they're passing to the right of the finish line, they can actually get an 8th place item in 1st place. This allows you to have access to items like stars, and oh, and Armin misses the jump and elects to go around, just like Andy. So it's a pretty even Koopa Troopa so far. I assume Andy's behind because of the lightning. But so yeah, as you can see on Armin's screen, he missed the item manipulation there. But yeah, you can get an 8th place item in that way. Andy finishing up with a 133.90. Armin makes it in the last lap. And Armin will come through at a 129. So I'm sure both these players aren't too happy with that race, but at least no one had such a big time game. Sometimes when these things happen, the race is just pretty much over after something like that, but not the case here. As Armin is slowly picking up time on Andy. But Andy getting a mushroom actually helps a lot on Calamari. However, he won't be able to reduce the lag. There's a lot of lag on this track. So what you ideally hope for is a banana or something that zooms the camera out like a fake. And you can drive around with that. And then you kind of hope for a mushroom at the end to cut the trains. Also, boos are pretty nice here because the trains are just in the worst spots. And... obviously, a boo, you can go through the train. Some of the really top players will go in between the train carts, but it's not something that's easy to do in a race situation, so I wouldn't expect to see it here. As you can see, yeah, Armin dragging that banana will help with the lag, although he doesn't really have to worry about that on emulator, I don't believe. So, but yeah, Andy saving his mushroom, going behind these trains, playing it smart. If he were to use that mushroom on, say, laps 1 or 2, he would just run right into the trains anyway, and he would have to slow down and wait for them. So, just knowing how to navigate through this run is extremely important. So, as you can see, they aren't required to watch the trophy ceremony. Once you cross the finish line, you can reset. So that's what Andy's doing as he moves on to the next cup. As Armin comes in at a 146, we'll do the same. Hey John, how's it going? I hope everyone's doing well. So Andy starts off on Toad's Turnpike. This is one of those courses where mushrooms aren't all that important. They don't save too much time. And even going into these, as as Andy picks up a mushroom, and Armin picks up a mushroom, I believe. But yeah, this course is just a pretty simple track, a figure eight. The cars, I think, are only... Okay, so at this pace, I think there's only like one, maybe two sections the cars will even be that much of a problem. As I say that, oh, Armin gets the Wombo combo, hitting two cars in a row. And now, yeah, and now you can see the cars are a little bit off his usual pace, and he will have to figure out where they're at and navigate through them. Andy appears to be staying pretty clean. This course is really all about just doing mini turbos as fast as you can and staying tight. Also, there's a lot of rubber banding in this game. As you can see on Andy's screen, DK is right behind him. Even the best players in the world, you'll see computer players right off the back of their screen, and it's not because they're driving poorly. I mean, sometimes it's because you're driving poorly, but most of the time it's just because the rubber banding is that crazy. And this track, for whatever reason, is worse than most of the other tracks in the game. Armin, trying to recover from the earlier mishap, has got himself back into first place. Andy, no big time losses. He hit that banana. Oh, and he hits another banana, but bananas aren't super costly, but maybe a second or two. Looks like Andy will come through with a 228.57. Oh, Armin hitting that guardrail almost knocked him into the truck right there, but he gets through. And it looks like Andy's going to get all this time back that he had slowly lost throughout the first three races. Yeah, picking up 8 seconds there. Extending that lead. It's hard to say. It's hard to say who has the lead when he started 35 seconds ahead, but I think it's probably pretty close. So this Frapp Snowland is one of the courses where if these players are fortunate enough to get a mushroom, there's a spot they can use the shroom on that will save a ton of time. It is risky as it goes very close to the snowmen here. Okay, and yeah, we'll get to see Andy try this as he picks up a shroom. Oh, and he hits a banana. But yeah, this is the shroom spot right here on Andy's screen. And yeah, he does it very nicely. Armin, unfortunately for him, not really getting any speed items. And red shells are a tough item in this format because if you shoot them, sometimes they will come back and hit you. So you really gotta shoot them along the walls or just hope they actually go straight when you shoot them. Andy got another shroom, so I believe with 2 shrooms and only 1 banana hit, this should be a pretty decent time for Andy. So Andy coming through at a 142. So we'll remember that time and see what Armin gets here in a couple seconds. Yes, the players are allowed to watch the other streams. I assume most players do. It's just nice to know if you're ahead or behind and you have to play it safe or risk a little bit late in the run. Early in the run, it shouldn't matter too much. But yeah, that's some of the meta. As these players, well, Andy already underway on Chakra Mountain. The concern with this track, I would say, is that there's no guardrail like there is on time trials. So the part after the boulder to the end of the lap, there's no guardrail. So if you are unfortunate enough to fall off, that will lose a ton of time. And you technically can get smashed by this boulder also, but it's pretty unlikely. The cycle isn't very often. And I think if you're on a decent pace, you really won't even be that close to hitting the boulder. Nothing too crazy so far. Armin getting around that turn and that boulder, as we talked about earlier. Andy's zipping around at the end of the race here. Pretty clean race from him. Comes through at a 137.90. And I don't believe either player got any speed items there, so just all driving. And a 137.14 from Armin will gain a little bit of time on his side. So as Andy starts Mario Raceway, this actually might be the most interesting course of the run. A couple different options these players have. Andy goes around the mushroom, so if he wants... Okay, so he's not going to do the item manipulation. There is a newer item manipulation on this track, but it requires going a specific route, and it requires going a longer route. We'll see if Armin goes for it here. What you can do is you can stay on the road on this section, which is Armin is doing it. You cut in between the trees there. You pick up that set of items, and you select it on the pipe. And Armin did it perfectly, as I was explaining it. Gets the star, gets rewarded, and now he can use this star where you would usually use a mushroom, saving a ton of time. Mushrooms obviously big on this track. Stars are even better. And he's just going to play the track normally, but doesn't look like there's any big hiccups on his side. And it being lap 3, Armin, should just go the normal route. Andy restarting as we're halfway through the run. Oh, Armin is going for the manipulation on lap 3. A bold strategy here. Not sure if he realized he was on lap 3 or what. Or just trying to do the swag finish. But he gets the Koopa shell. So we're halfway through the run, but we are not really halfway through the run time-wise. Some of the longer courses are coming up. Armin will be able to make up even more time with the lag. Andy off to a good start on Wario Stadium, getting the shroom. There's a specific shroom spot on this course as well. So he's actually coming up on it. He won't have to hold the mushroom for a while, which is always kind of annoying. There it is. That's the time trial shroom spot. Also, for those of you wondering, Peach and Yoshi have the exact same speed stats, so there's no advantage in that regard. However, in between cups, the players have to reset the system and select their character. Yoshi is faster to select on the character select screen, so if this race comes down to a quarter of a second, I doubt it will. that could make a difference. Armin also picking up a mushroom, so it's fair, and he will hold it for the spot that Andy used it on lap 1. So as you can see, they're only a straightaway apart at this point. Armin has been slowly making up ground, I would say, on every course except for... I forget what course it was. There was one course he struggled at earlier in the run. Armin with a nice shroom there, hitting the downhill part of the hill for an extra speed boost. That's called the Tran, named after David Tran. Yes, Toad is lighter. Also, an interesting tidbit, as you see, when these players go over jumps, sometimes they will do a hop before the end of the jump, and that's just because you go faster when you're on the ground in this game. You go very slow in the air for whatever reason, and it's just kind of a finer detail that if you play this game in time trial mode, small things like that do add up as you're really fighting for tenths of a second in the time trial mode. For the most part, this race has been pretty clean on both sides. Not too much to talk about. Armin getting another shroom at the end, so... Okay, so Andy comes through at a 3:39, pretty solid time. Armin using that shroom at the end. 3:33 from Armin, wow. So he gained 6 seconds here. He is really closing the gap quickly. As they start Sherbertland, this can be kind of a scary course. These penguins are on cycles, but as you can see with the... Andy's about to go into this cave area, and in the cave area, it's just a very tight, narrow pathway, and if you want to stay close to the left wall, there are some tight spots you have to navigate in. You can't hit the penguins or they will spin you out, so Andy doing a nice job of getting through there. Also, in addition to that, if you want to save even more time, you can jump these cracks on these corners, which these players will do. Okay, not there, but I assume we'll see it at some point. And how far you jump the corner can save you even more time, but it's risky as well. So there are a lot of potentially really bad things that can happen on this track. But the penguins are on cycles. They do know where they're going to be, provided they're on pace. Andy picking up a shroom. That'll help. Oh, and he gets lightninged. Very unfortunate for Andy. I think that's the second one he's had to deal with so far. Lightning normally costing you around 4 to 5 seconds. So this shroom, in perspective, is probably only going to save him a third of a second or so, maybe half a second. So it's really not. It's better not to get a shroom than to get lightning. As you can see, Andy just slightly ahead now. Armin is caught way up. Armin doing the swag finish. You love to see it. Coming in at a 1:37.94. Andy about 5 seconds slower. We'll hold on to a slight lead for the time being. Also, you can tell the version differences. Armin playing on Japanese version, Andy playing on the US version. Some of these courses have slightly different names. Oh, Armin misses the hairpin area, tries to take it too tight, which is actually, that is the one area of this track that is a big time save if you do it tightly. Oh, and Bowser trolling him with the banana there. So Andy, oh, at least he gets the, oh, and he shrooms into the wall. Man, it's kind of coming undone a little bit for Armin, and he was doing so well. He's going to have to regroup after those couple mistakes there. This race is far from over. Oh, Andy gets a shroom and immediately uses it. That's interesting because there's a really good shroom spot on this course right before the ramp straightaway. It can save quite a bit of time, actually. Armin getting some good RNG at least. Third place, getting triple shrooms. We'll be able to make some of that time back. As you can see, yeah, this is the spot I would have expected Andy to use the shroom right there. Okay, Andy getting a very nice hairpin there. And there's not too much lag on this track, so like on Andy's side, you can tell that he's not really worried about holding bananas or anything. You can just drop them and not really worry about them. Sometimes it gets a little tougher to drive when the camera's extremely zoomed out like it is. And he's going to finish safely. Comes through with a good, pretty solid time, 2:23.94. Armin, a 2:30.28. A couple of tough mistakes on his part. Just going a little bit too aggressive. You can't blame him in a race situation. But Andy will extend his lead a little bit, and it's still very close. Bowser's Castle, one of the toughest courses of the run. These thwomps, again, are on cycles, but even being slightly slow or slightly faster than normal, you may have to go to a different side to avoid them entirely. Andy getting a shroom will help. There's a really good shroom spot, but Wario and Bowser right on his tail. It can always get a little dicey with these CPUs right behind you. Armin also having a pretty clean lap. Yeah, 30. So Armin gains another second and a half. As you can see, Andy using that shroom spot. Saves a lot of time in that spot. Andy gets through that room cleanly. You can also tell the thwomps are different on emulator. Oh, Andy hitting a banana and sliding out through the sliding thwomp room. Oh, and slides out on the stairs. Armin takes the lead, and he's even more in the lead because he's on emulator. Andy picking up triple mushrooms. Did a good job getting rid of those red shells. That was not intuitive. Let's see. So he'll be able to do like a time trial fast lap, I guess, and use these after the stairs. Armin's having a very clean race. Holding this fake behind him. As Andy makes his way back into first place. Always nice. You do have to get top 4, otherwise you will have to replay the track, but that's very rarely a problem at this level. Both players finish and restart. Armin sticking with Peach. And he's sticking with Yoshi as we start Donkey Kong Jungle Parkway, the laggiest course in the game. Yeah, I agree. That was a choke job from Wario. He definitely could have won that one. Armin making his way over the ramp jump. Nicely done. You can go very far to the left on this ramp jump in relationship to the items, but it does come with a little bit of risk. If you try to go too far, you will fall in the water, losing about 10 seconds, which is a ton of time in a race like this. You don't want to lose 10 seconds. So there will be calculated risks from these players. Pretty clean lap one. As I said earlier, since this is such a laggy track, this is why Andy holds the banana behind him. He will probably hold it for the entire race. It actually saves up to like 4 seconds throughout the entire race. So it's a pretty big deal if you can hold a banana. Ideally, you would get a mushroom and then bananas, but bananas are a lot easier to pick up. As Armin comes through on lap 3. Getting that mushroom. So mushrooms save a ton of time on this course. He'll use it probably right here. Yep. Andy also making it over the jump. Still holding that banana from earlier. Armin coming through at a 158. Even holding the banana through the credit screen saves time. I don't think it matters for Armin since he's on emulator, but Andy should hold this banana. And he will. 157.98 for Andy. Armin still with a little bit of a lead that's starting to open up, but Yoshi Valley is probably the craziest course of the run. These players will go for this hairpin jump, which is considered non-shortcut, where you jump from one area of the track to the other, and if you miss it, it's very easy to miss, and Armin's coming up on it here, makes it through cleanly, and has a shroom, which actually saves quite a bit of time on this course, so... Also, this will be another laggy course on Andy's side, unfortunately. So getting a mushroom or being able to reduce that lag somehow will save. Andy gets through. Tight hairpin from Andy. Very nicely done. The egg can also squish you, so there are definitely some problem areas on this track. Armin getting through nicely on lap 2. Also, both these players taking... Oh, and Andy gets lightninged again. Very unfortunate. I think that's number 3 this race. Yeah, it's really too bad. Also, both these players are taking the second fastest route, as the fastest route has added risk with the spinies. Armin able to stay on lap 3, so he made the jump all 3 laps. Clean race from him. 132. I think he'll probably be pretty happy with that. Andy on lap 3 hairpin. Gets through. So a clean race from Andy as well. Just unfortunate with that lightning. And the lag is going to cost him a little bit of time. Looks like about 6 seconds. So only 2 races left. Banshee Boardwalk and the long one we won't talk about until we have to. So I would say the biggest potential area on this track is lap 2, right before the bat house. The computer players like to lay items, bananas, right before that bat house, and because there's no guardrail on that section, you can easily hit one and fall off the course. Yeah, this area Armin's coming up on right now. Okay, his area was clean, so fortunate for him. Oh, Andy hitting a banana there, but he's able to hit the B button. Yeah, that was the area I was talking about. They like to put items on that spot. As you can see, Armin now is almost a lap ahead. Andy coming through. Armin finishing up with a 143.55. Andy gets a shroom. That'll help. Now, Rainbow Road is a very long course, and there are these chomps. Hitting them only really costs you about 2.5 seconds, maybe. But if Armin hits a few of them, I don't know. It's going to be tough for Andy to catch up at this point. But we will see. But yeah, these chomps are on cycles, so if the players are on a pace close to their normal pace, they should know exactly if they're going to go to the right or to the left side of them. Also, for those of you that don't know, there was a custom course recently made that is a Rainbow Road remake without the fence. It might be shorter also, I'm not sure. But so if that's something that interests you, you can check out a guy by the name of Dead Hamsters. He does custom courses that are pretty cool. No big mistakes from either player so far, as Armin closing out lap 1 with a 136. And at the beginning of the lap, these players will try to stick to the ground. If you just drive normally, you will actually get airborne, which is slower. So some of these players will try to brake or just ease up off the gas. And then you can triple tap A for a fast acceleration. And if you do it right, you get like a pretty sizable speed burst. Armin picks up a mushroom. And he uses it right away. He's not going to save it for the normal mushroom spot. Also, something to note: Andy may be on PR pace. According to his splits, he was 1.2 seconds ahead after Banshee Boardwalk. So, whether he wins this race or not, he might actually PR this run, which would be very impressive in a race situation. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Armin doesn't have splits, so I'm not exactly sure what kind of pace he's on relative to that. It's also pretty crazy if he is on PR pace, because he had that unfortunate lightning on Koopa Troopa Beach that caused him to miss that jump, in addition to 2 other lightnings. So, oh, and Andy hits the chomp there, does pick up a shroom. So, Andy making his way onto the last lap now, coming through at a 140. See if he uses the shroom or if yeah, he's going to use the shroom, try to pick up some more along the way. There's just so many item boxes on Rainbow Road. It's tough to fault him for saving it for the best spot when there's so many more item boxes. Like, I don't know what the math says, but it feels like you should probably just, at certain points in the lap, just go for it and hope to get another mushroom. Armin making his way, looks like around the last turn. And yeah, Armin going to take this race. Very clean run from him. Oh, his stream is paused and he's okay. He restarted. I don't know what cup he's going to next. Oh, he's doing time trials. Okay. So congratulations to Armin for the win. Gets a 40-minute flat time. It's too bad he didn't get the sub. The sub would have been cool. Armin doing his DK. For those of you that don't know, Armin is not a fan of DK, so he's gonna kill him. Andy coming through is gonna get a 454.49 and a 40.38 overall, just missing his PR, I believe, by under 4 seconds. So great race by both players. It's too bad Andy wasn't able to get that PR, and we loved having him, but unfortunately Andy is eliminated. We will see more from Armin as you get to watch his time trial stream right now. Basically, for those of you that don't know, he had a race that he basically lost the race because on the 3rd lap of Yoshi Valley, DK had a star and hit him off the bridge, sending him down into the canyon, costing him 10 seconds. And he wasn't able to recover from that, so he now randomly will play as DK and kill him. So, good game to both players. If this is something that interests you, make sure to check back for more Mario Kart action on SpeedGaming. Most of these matches from here on out will be on SpeedGaming. If someone could link the schedule and the website, I would appreciate it. And if this is something that interests you, please follow both runners. The links are posted there. I am Brian on the commentary. I also run this game, so if you want to follow me, that'd be great too. I'm sure everyone appreciates it. Anyway, I am signing off. Thanks for joining us, and hope you guys have a good and safe rest of your day. Take it easy, guys. See you later.